Choices. Our life is full of them. We make lots of both significant and insignificant choices each day. And sometimes we can't help but wonder, what if we hadn't made this or that decision? And today, we're exploring such a what-if question. What if Team Chaos what if Team Order had won the final Splatfest? Hello there, dear peoples. I'm Sophie, Remigang, and today I am here to discuss that question and make some theories with a very special guest. Hello! This is Yu. Yes, that's her name. She will argue against some points that I will make in this video. Also, from this point on, she is allowed to appear in any video if she thinks that there's a logical mistake in it.
Exactly. So now, I'd suggest you start with the first thing.
I'll go right ahead.
Whoa, wait. Changes to Splatoon 2? The campaign is already over.
Well, it does make sense since, the entire Marina and security dialogue would need to be changed, right?
Yeah.
So Marina would have no confidence issues and Pearl would probably take on her self-esteem issues.
But Pearl wouldn't show that. You know how Pearl is, right? She openly accepted that Marina probably has more fans than her.
Yeah, but she would probably show it through something different. And I would think that for Pearl it would make the most sense if she showed it through anger or saltiness. So maybe instead of the cute scene that we did get, Pearl being a lot more salty and Marina trying to calm her down. I think that would fit Pearl a lot, trying to keep it together during the news segment and maybe shouting at her behind the scenes. And also, Pearl won the Mushroom Fest. Maybe he would be like,
"Oh, hell yeah, we won that!"
And probably also state that she has more victories overall, that her teams won more times than Marina's teams. So maybe she would also show that and just be a lot more aggressive with everything overall, and Marina would just try to calm her down all the time. And now that we have a few theories to what would probably happen in Splatoon 2, let's move on to the much more interesting stuff. Now, believe it or not, I really think that it made sense that Team Chaos won the final Splatfest. Why? Because Splatoon is chaos, the entire Splatoon franchise. Have you looked at a turf war? It's pure chaos. Everyone comes from all sides. And, also modes like Clam Blitz. It's just pure chaos ensuing. And that's why I think it was very clear that Team Chaos would, 1, be more popular, and 2, win the entire Splatfest. Because Chaos freaks would probably be the players that play Splatoon more, because the entire franchise is Chaos. So the victory of Team Chaos just gave the Splatoon development team a lot more room to make more chaos in Splatoon 3. And from seeing now on, they can do that in many ways. They returned the Inkzooka, so maybe they could make specials more overpowered again, which would basically bring in a Splatoon 1 dynamic between normal weapons and specials. Or they could be very devilish and add an even more chaotic ranked mode than Clam Blitz. And also, we already got confirmed that Salmon Run will be a lot more chaotic, since there is now the egg throw, meaning that you can literally throw eggs into the ocean for nobody to get, meaning that trolling is now even more possible and easier, meaning Salmon Run will be absolute chaos in the future. but this isn't speculating what Splatoon 3 will be like. Because what if Team Order had won? How can you take that as a development team of one of the most chaotic franchises ever and make it work? Because how can you make... There is, as I said earlier, no turf war is orderly. How can you make an orderly turf war? So I think one of the most basic things would probably be that the environment would be different. However, I think that the environment now is not Team Chaos's fault.
Why shouldn't it be Team Chaos's fault? I mean, they literally have Pearl and Callie as their leaders.
Well, it's because deserts are a natural thing, you know? And there was a freaking war before Splatoon where humanity destroyed themselves in order for Splatoon to happen.
Okay, fair point there.
And the environment there would probably be like Poofo Art on Twitter made some concept art that I'm probably showing right now of Team Order, which would be a more orderly environment, like probably a city or something. And probably a lot of different gear, you know, that the gear of the Splatoon girl currently is kind of a ripped up shirt. So it would probably be more high tech, you know, something like the robot uniforms. Now, also they would probably ban Clam Blitz because it's the most chaotic mode. However, I really want them to ban Clam Blitz one way or the other. Maybe make all of the weapons more balanced, like maybe by nerfing the Clash Blaster, which I still really want to happen for Splatoon 3. Please, Nintendo, nerf this thing. The Salmon Run will probably stay the same since, you know, the gear that we saw in the Salmon Run trailer for Splatoon 3 already looks very high tech. Now for the story mode, there's one thing I can say. I have no idea. Since for now it looks like the story mode doesn't really have anything to do with whether Team Chaos or Team Order won. It seems pretty one and the same. I also think that, so I can really make no predictions since the story mode doesn't seem to have anything to do with Team Chaos / Team Order, except if, you know, Marina made the Fuzzy Octarians, but that's very out there, I have to say. And so maybe we will, what I already am hoping for Splatoon 3 is get a DLC where we learn what happened to Off the Hook. And instead of, you know, focusing on Marina's self-esteem issues, we would probably help Marina find Pearl or something. But, you know, from the game we really got no indication if Off the Hook will break up in Splatoon 3 or not. Because, you know, Pearl literally said that Team Chaos winning means Off the Hook branching out into more music genres, so yeah. I have no clue.
And we still have no idea if there will be a DLC or not.
You know, it's kind of likely though.
Yeah, but still, you can't say that there will be a DLC if we have no idea if there will be one.
Yeah, but that's because this entire video is just a bunch of guessing, and hey, in the end, we will never know what would have happened if Team Chaos won, and for now we don't even know what plans the Splatoon development team has for Splatoon 3.
Absolutely correct. Hold on, why did you make this video then?
I felt like it, and also speculating is really fun, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, That's right. And on this note, I think this is a good conclusion, right?
Yep. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and until next time, stay fresh!
Stay fresh!